Now, Choi, your objectives of this speech is very important. Every time you do a speech, you need to read the objectives, the project carefully, because this is what evaluators will be evaluating you on. So your objectives are to introduce the skills you need to organize and present a podcast, and to introduce your podcast and present a recorded segment of the podcast. Okay. So as a presenter, you did well. You gave a short introduction before you played the video. This is important. This is like setting the stage for the audience mind to tell them what you're going to share with them. Because if you would have just played the video, we would be lost, very lost, what the video would be about. So that was good. You also asked good questions. And very important for a Toastmaster, you listen and you nodded meaningfully along with the guest. So that is very, very strong skills. In fact, we should have more of listening skills than speaking skills in Toastmasters. Of course, Terrence's suggestion for you to not make conscious sound was a very good suggestion for a podcast, because in a podcast or in a video, sound is the most important rather than video. So I'm going to ask a few questions on how you did in your project. The first question I ask is, did the podcast have well-organized content? Yes, you had. It was very clear that you had a topic to discuss with the audience and for the guests to speak about. And of course, it is about Toastmasters. It's something very dear to us. We know it very well. And the speaker can say frankly his thoughts or her thoughts and his experience. So that was good. Now, is the podcast engaging? Now, I thought that while this content was good, the questions and response of the guest was also good. I felt it was not as engaging I would have expected it to be, because it was, number one, too slow. And the speaker took more time to speak. Now, if this is the case, what you could have done is to plan the whole session with the speaker beforehand. For example, you request the speaker to give short responses rather than long responses. And also, you need to plan with the guests to know the exact sequence of questions. So in this way, you can control the time better. And for the audience, when we watch it later, we will feel more engaged and feel more value to listening to the podcast. Now, of course, technology was a big thing here. You could have a backup plan. For example, you should have tested it on Zoom. Your technology, what about the settings, right? And if after testing, something did happen, you could ask another member to play it. But of course, the next member who played it would have tested the video as well. And did you have a conclusion? Now, you had a good short introduction, but you didn't give a conclusion to your speech because of the technical difficulty. Every speech should have a conclusion, because it focuses the mind back to the audience, to the message of your speech or call to action. If you set the audience mind to tell them what you're going to do, at the end, you should do the same. Now, finally, did you demonstrate excellent speaking skills? You already have good speaking skills, but unlike a lot of people, a speech needs to be practiced before delivering. Just like as you would plan for the podcast and you would expect a lot of NGs. Therefore, I look forward to your next speech, especially your contest speech, where you can really deliver a polished speech. Toastmaster.